Hear me? Okay. They didn't tell me to turn it on. So it's kind of hard. I'm the last of the new faces here, and last but not least, going last is probably the hardest. I'll Josh flip the screen there. I'm really not a new face here, though. I don't know if Jim remembers. I was here 22 years ago as a student, and it really meant a lot to me because I went to New York Chiropractic School, and so I learned a lot about the body. I mean, I could diagnose any cancer, any disorder, those types of things. Josh, can you flip through, or? Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. So, my first time at New Beginnings really resonated to me because it really talked about what I wanted to be about, which was talking about health, wellness, holistic, the body being able to care for itself. And like I said, I went to New York Chiropractic College. I was magna cum laude, or summa cum laude, aced my boards, great education to pass my boards. And just as Wendy had said, we got nothing in philosophy. And so my first years in practice, I practiced like I learned at New York Chiropractic College. And I struggled because I was basically a musculoskeletal provider, a metapractor. People came 6 to 12 visits and left, and I'm like, but they don't get the idea. Why aren't they staying? And that's, and I could regurgitate, and I used to give people all the research handouts on why they should continue care, and they look at you and they don't look at them. They don't understand them. They don't look at them. They just want to know, what's going on, and for you to explain the big idea in KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Finally, I went to a Parker convention, and that was the big change because I didn't like how I was practicing. I wasn't happy with how I was practicing, and it was basically the way I practiced in chiropractic school. And that's, when I started talking about getting the big idea, talking to people about subluxations, talking about adjustments rather than manipulating, putting away my electric stim machine because the body doesn't need it. Discussing your it, those are big things. Talking about the principles of chiropractic, started listening to tapes, the podcasts. All around us, we're inundated with medicine. Every other commercial is, you need to ask your doctor about this drug. We need New Beginnings. We need other things very similar to this because this is where we get, you don't need drugs to be healthy. You don't need drugs to be whole. The body, the power that made the body heals the body. And that's one of the big things I've learned since going to Parker and doing a few management companies is explain chiropractic to your patients in a KISS way. Keep it simple. They want to know what's going on. They want to know why you started in chiropractic. And that's one of the things is, as we go back to our practices, sometimes we get back into our rote ways, and these seminars keep us and say, okay, we've got to talk to people. We've got to tell people what is chiropractic about. I can say each time I go to seminars like these, I start talking to people about the nervous system, and then you start getting babies coming in. You start getting kids to come in. People will bring their spouses in, and that's very important. To be true to yourself, be true to chiropractic, true to the philosophy. Not only like what people have said, talk the talk, but walk the talk. And really, are you a chiropractor? And really talking about chiropractic. And I like to talk about the fact that this is what people want. There's a big division in our field that people who want to be more like medical doctors. And that's horrible. I mean, people don't come to us because they want more drugs. And I really think we need to stand up and support those organizations that support us. I can tell you, graduated from New York Chiropractic College. I joined NISCA, I joined the ACA. It was boring. They were kind of like, you know, I remember them crying about, oh, the insurance this and all the, it was just a very downhearted, downtrodden. They were like, oh, remember the Mercedes 80s? I'm like, nothing was about service. Nothing was about philosophy. Nothing was about love, vitalistic, innate. And that's when I ended up switching to organizations that were aligned with my philosophies. Whether, you know, I joined the New York Chiropractic Council. Why? Because they resonated with what I believe. Live your life congruently. Practice what you preach. Be a role model for your clients, the community, the students. You know, are you doing the things you say? You know, when I graduated from chiropractic school, I wasn't getting adjusted weekly. I was doing what the New York Chiropractic College taught me, which was you get adjusted when you're in pain, although I was like, well, you're supposed to kind of get adjusted when you're not in pain to stay well. And then, like I said, changing, going to Parker, doing some other things, I started saying, well, why am I not getting adjusted weekly? Why am I not doing the things I preach? And that's where I started changing things. And that's where I encourage all of you that are here today is, where do you need to improve? We all are constantly striving to improve. You know, where is your practice going? Where do you want it to go? Where are you headed? You know, I've spent the first 15 years developing, growing into a chiropractor. I have 2 wonderful boys that are now 7 years old, and I've kind of coasted the last few years. I know Steve was like, oh, I've been active in the Chiropractic Council. I was up until about 8 years ago when I had them. And now they're 7.5 and pretty much self-sufficient that I can actually start going to seminars again. I can start being more active and talking to people. And I just wanted you guys to know how important organizations like this is that support us and how we practice. Thank you.